Hey, folks, welcome back to the JLAM MMA show. We're on episode 10 now. Good time. Still having fun, still liking it. Little bit of a change up for this show. We're going to welcome back my brother, Jeff Watkins. 2 episodes ago, we kind of had a little bit of a debacle. So the change up is he's actually taking the helm for me today, kind of sitting in he's sitting in the guest chair, but he's also sitting in the producer chair. Let's welcome him in. What's up, Jeff?
Hello. Let's see if this doesn't turn out to a train wreck again.
I don't think it could turn out any worse than it did last time.
Oh, don't say that.
It was a good episode up until everything started
until that happened.
Up until everything fell apart. I felt like we were having fun. We were doing a good job with it. So
we were trying to.
Yeah, we're always good triers in our family, aren't we?
Yes. Some more than others. No, I'm just kidding.
So, all right. So we had a very fun and interesting UFC pay-per-view, UFC 262 in Houston, Texas, full capacity crowd, no masks, a lot of celebrity fanfare there in attendance. I mean, I'm still salty that I wasn't a part of it and that I couldn't go, but
I've never been to a UFC.
I know. We're going to have to get you. We're going to have to get you to one. I've been to 2 now. I went to the UFC in Austin where Cowboy fought what was his name?
Was it the other Cowboy?
No, it wasn't Brazilian Cowboy. It was the Hawaiian or I think he's from Hawaii.
I don't know.
Shit, I can't remember. And then I went to the San Antonio show in summer of 2019, and that was Rafael dos Anjos.
We never even get to be able to get tickets because they sell out so fast.
Yeah.
Even if we tried, we probably wouldn't got in.
And that was one thing that Dana White was saying is that he's just right now they're exclusively looking at pay-per-views to be on the road. So I guess until, Q4, all the fight nights are still going to be at the Apex. I would say, once fight nights open back up and they start taking them on the road again, then you might have a better shot at getting some tickets. But anyways,
see when that day comes.
Yeah. And Dana White did say in the post-fight press conference at UFC 262, he did say that he wants to come back to Texas and he foresees, another Texas pay-per-view towards the end of the year. So hopefully, keep your pocketbook ready. Maybe we can jump on it and get in there.
Maybe. We'll see.
I'm down. Maybe it'll be in Dallas. I can go up there and stay with you.
That'd be cool if they ever did it at the Cowboy Stadium, man.
I've been talking about that. Like that, they do have the fanfare in the States. The only stadiums, they normally do basketball arenas. Basketball arenas, 16 to 22,000 seating. In Australia, when they did the Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker, that was at the soccer stadium, football stadium.
Has it ever been in Dallas?
Yeah, they've been at American Airlines Arena where
that's where the Mavericks play, right?
Yeah, that's where the Mavericks play. So they've been there. And then, of course, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, they hit up the major spots, and they actually did one in Laredo one time, a fight night.
Oh,
so
weird.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. But anyways, let's jump into the pay-per-view. We have a new lightweight king now, Charles Oliveira. He's been around he got almost 11 years fighting in the UFC, debuted when he was 21, I think. And now he's 32 years old. Finally cashing in and catching that first title. And he now sets the record for longest time in the UFC without, longest time from debut to capturing the belt. And couldn't be more happy for the guy. And, that fight only lasted 2 rounds, but it was constant excitement between those two. I was impressed from both sides, the way that Oliveira weathered a first round storm. Really, he got control of Michael Chandler, had his back. Michael Chandler used his wrestling prowess and reversed and really had Oliveira in some danger in that first round, and looked as if he had the upper hand going into the second round. Looked like he had Oliveira hurt. And then Oliveira comes in the second round and really dominates the stand-up game and catches Michael Chandler up against the fence as he's trying to maneuver away from the fence, catches him with a couple nice shots, and ultimately gets the knockout and the victory and the belt put around his waist. And you could tell the excitement on his face. You could tell the excitement in the room for a guy like that to go through. I mean, he's fought everybody. And I know we say that about a lot of fighters here. He really has fought just about everybody there is to fight. So I'm interested with what you think, Jeff. Where, would you stick with the with the rumors of the winner of Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier being the number 1 contender, or do you have somebody else in mind?
No, I think if Conor wins, they're giving it to him for sure. Because it seems like the way Dana White always talks, he wants him to be champion, it seems like.
Well, of course.
And then if Dustin wins, Dustin's getting the title. And I do like the idea of Chandler versus Justin Gaethje. I do really like that.
I do like that one as well. I'm not opposed to that being the next number 1 contenders fight. But you remember Justin Gaethje's just one fight removed from fighting.
That's what
for the
sucks,
title.
Because if he doesn't get the shot, it just kind of sucks because he's just sitting there waiting in the wings.
Right, and there's just such a logjam at 155 right now. I mean, anybody in that top 10 has at least an argument for that title fight. And I believe I agree with you. Dustin Poirier was absolutely the number 1 contender. He's earned it ever since he took his loss from Khabib to climb back into that place. And I think he holds the edge ultimately over Justin Gaethje. With a victory against Conor, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. If Conor
what makes
wins,
that one interesting too is if Justin Gaethje does get the next title shot, he's been training with what's his name, Kamaru Usman.
Usman, Rose Namajunas over with Trevor Whitman.
That'll give him 3 champions.
Ooh, yeah.
But then just the savage of the wrestling and Charles Oliveira's jiu-jitsu. I don't think Charles Oliveira could handle his striking game, but I don't know. He did really good against Michael Chandler, so I could be wrong. But if it's Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje, that was going to be a great striking fight.
Absolutely. Sure. And Gaethje is a wrestler by trade, but he just doesn't ever he never has to lean on it. He tried to lean on it against Khabib, but Khabib was absolutely the superior wrestler. Gaethje gassed out, and we all know the sad end to that story.
Yeah, that's crazy how fast he did in that one too.
But I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers that provide intriguing matchups for Chandler on the back end. You take our co-main event, Beneil Dariush, who defeated Tony Ferguson. He's in there. You've got Kevin Lee. You've got a guy that fought last week, Gregor
What's
Gillespie.
Kevin Lee's rank? Do we know?
Kevin Lee is ranked, I believe, 11th.
11th.
You know, he's fringe top 10. And I know he's taken some bad losses, and maybe somebody like, Michael Chandler, after taking his first loss in the UFC, that might not be a bad matchup to bounce back and reestablish himself as, the cream of the crop of the 155 division, as well as doing a service for Kevin Lee to see, has he lost a step? Is he dropping consistently down in the rankings, or does he belong in that top 10 conversation that he's been in for so long?
Yeah. And he's been training with GSP, so
yeah,
it'd be nice to see if he's learned anything from that. And just
Absolutely. So, you got Paul Felder right there in the top 10. I think that's a fun, interesting fight for Chandler. I mean, the good thing is Chandler's new to the UFC. He's only fought 2 out of the top 10 and hasn't faced any of these other guys. But he is absolutely, world-class talent. I think he proved it with how much he pushed Oliveira. I think he proved it with how he knocked out Dan Hooker. He belongs. There's no doubt about that. He belongs.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting matchups. And hey, you know what? Charles Oliveira, he's manning the ship at 155. He's the champ. He really is the one that gets to dictate. I believe he has the say-so of who he wants to face next. And ideally, of course, anybody in the top 10, the ideal fight is the Conor fight. Why? Because it's the money fight. And I think everybody looks at Conor a lot differently than they did 5 years ago. Conor McGregor 5 years ago, invincible. Nobody wanted to fight him.
Yeah.
Conor now, has some issues. He has cardio issues. He's not well on the ground.
Is it true he's only won 1 at 155?
Conor?
Just the title shot? Uh-huh.
Yeah, just the.
I thought I heard that the other day, and I was like, what?
Just the Eddie. No, because I believe the Cowboy fight was at 155.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The Cowboy fight was at 155, so that would make.
Are you sure? No, that was at 170.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I want to say that was.
I could look that up. Let me see. I'll look that up. You keep talking so we don't give it dead air.
All right. But yeah, I do want to say that one was 155 because,
I thought they didn't want a weight cut. That's why I thought it wasn't.
You might be right. I know Cowboy has been talking about doing 155 and going back down to 155. He's just taking too much punishment at 170. So 155, and that's why I assumed this Conor fight was going to be at 155. But come to think of it, now that you're saying that, I think you might be right.
I think it was. I'm still looking.
But hey,
it was at 170.
It was at 170. See, I'm having a bad track record when it.
It's bad when I was about to say it's bad when I get a stat right. And you don't.
No, you know what? My fighter picks from last week, they didn't go so well. I picked Oliveira to pick up the championship, but all the other fights I missed on. And there were, at the time I filmed the podcast last week, it was only 4 fights that were on the main event because one fight got pushed to this weekend. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But so they only had 4 fights. It was, Dariush versus Tony Ferguson. I thought Ferguson was going to bounce back, and that did not end up being the case.
That was sad.
It was very sad. And then the other 2 fights, Chukagian versus Vivian Araujo. I can't pronounce her name at all. I'm going to keep butchering that one. Chukagian won. I thought Vivian would upset, but yeah. No, go ahead and put that one back up there because
Tony back up.
Yeah, put the Tony Ferguson back up. So Beneil Dariush gets the unanimous decision, and I'm going to say by way of teabagging for 15 minutes.
That was weird why he was doing a handstand. I don't know nothing about jiu-jitsu technique or anything like that, but it seemed weird that he was kind of handstanding the whole time.
Yeah. And it didn't look like Dariush was there to inflict damage. He was there for control. And this sets up an interesting argument. You know, the casual fan wants to see violence, you know, and sometimes wrestlers don't provide the most flashiest fights, you know, i.e. Ben Askren. You know, Ben Askren had some boring fights. It's just Matt
Well, the thing
Matt
about
Hughes.
this one,
Matt Hughes, another one.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing about this one is, as far as me, I've always felt like Tony Ferguson was supposed to be like a legend at jiu-jitsu. You hear like Eddie Bravo on Joe Rogan talk about how he's the next thing. He's the only thing that could beat Khabib. But then with Charles Oliveira fight and this, he wasn't really able to capitalize on anything.
absolutely. And it's not for lack of trying on Ferguson's part. Beneil Dariush, and with all respect, I know I joked about him teabagging Tony Ferguson for 15 minutes, but you know, he sounds like a super nice guy. He looked big in there for 155. He did look like a bigger, stronger guy against Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
And really just manhandled him and smothered him. And Tony Ferguson tried elbows. He tried different angles to set up submissions, and it's just he kept getting shut down. And I don't think Dariush is getting enough credit out of this, but he fought the perfect fight. It might have been boring to the most casual fan, and I don't want to see any rule changes. If you're in a half guard position or north-south position, those are advanced positions that don't deserve that stand up. I know in the heat of the moment when you're watching a boring fight like that your impulse says like, just stand him up. But guess what? That's giving an advantage to a inferior fighter. Mm-hmm. And for all intents and purposes, Tony Ferguson was absolutely the inferior fighter in there, and as much as a fan favorite that Tony is, I believe it's on him to improve his wrestling defense, improve his stellar jiu-jitsu game to escape some of those positions. It's not necessarily on Dariush's part that he fought a boring fight. No, he did what he knew to do to win the fight. So I challenge those casual fans to take a closer look. Like it was a masterful performance, and you're not always going to get a wrestler that is heavy-handed and just wants to inflict pain and violence like the previous 155 champion and Khabib Nurmagomedov, who he wrestled every fight, but his fights weren't boring.
But I think that just kind of shows you if he's getting manhandled by Dariush, he was just going to get completely manhandled by Khabib too. So
100%. Yeah. 100%. So,
but would you say Dariush look bigger than Khabib usually does if Khabib fights?
No, actually, I think that I would say that's about what Khabib looks like when he's in there, and maybe Khabib looks a little bit smaller. Dariush, he's a silverback in the 155 division
with the dad bod. Silverback with the dad bod.
Yeah, I mean he's a big fella.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my only beef is a lot of the fallout from watching that fight is they said it was boring and they should have stand him up. I know the Houston crowd, you could hear them coming through the TV, stand them up.
I didn't hear that.
I heard it. It was when he was in, I guess from the photo, when he was in that north-south position up against the fence, and he really wasn't doing anything with it. He wasn't trying to inflict damage or chase a submission. He was just kind of holding him there. But But again, if you're in an advanced position, the referee doesn't normally stand up from the advanced positions like that. The basic position of being in full guard and no activity is going on. That's when, the ref will stand you up. When you're in a clinch position up against the cage and nobody's throwing punches or elbows or trying to advance their position. Half guard, north-south position, top mount, or full mount position. Those are all advanced positions to set up, more striking or chasing submissions. So, I mean, if you're in that advanced position, of course not, it's not going to get stood up at that point. But
yeah,
a lot of boos and I think it takes away from Dariush's dominant victory. I mean, like I said, he sounds like a nice guy. He complimented told a little story about Justin Gaethje before he back when Gaethje was in World Series of Fighting, was buying groceries for Dariush and his wife and helping them out and going.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's what some people are saying could be the next fight as well, Dariush versus him. But
I would have agreed had I not heard that in the post-fight press conference where he was talking about that. And I was like, you know what? They might be too.
But I felt like he still made it seem like he would take it, even if they're friendly.
He might.
Yeah.
But,
which that'd be interesting too, I guess.
Sure. So let's move down. Let's go through more of the pay-per-view fights. We had the Matt Snell versus Rogerio Bontorin. That is the fight that got moved up from the prelims to the pay-per-view kind of last second. Like I said, Monday, they didn't have any updates for us, and I'm not sure when that came out, but sometime in between Monday and Saturday, they announced that. Bontorini got the victory. And then Caitlin Chukagian versus Viviane. Chukagian looked phenomenal in that one. And then Edson Barboza with a victory over Shane Burgos. I initially picked Barboza to win because I thought he had a huge reach advantage. And then I changed my mind when I actually looked it up and saw that they were pretty evenly matched in length and height. So I kind of flipped the switch and went with the younger fighter, but experience won out, and Barboza had a very impressive victory there. And almost an oddity. I think this has been one of the talks of there's so many things that came out of this pay-per-view between new champion to Tony Ferguson's performance, and then the way that Edson Barboza knocked out Shane Burgos. He caught him right on the temple, and there was every bit of a 2-second delay from
that was weird.
Burgos falling back. That was weird. That was absolutely weird. And normally we see those delays when it comes to like a liver kick or something,
Yeah.
Not necessarily on the knockout side of things, but he looked like he took the punch pretty well. And then just, when that 6 shot of tequila at the bar takes its toll, man, you just get up out of your stool and just start leaning.
I forgot what I heard somewhere, but it's possible, like, I guess from one of those knockouts that could be cause of a stroke could have just happened. So
yeah,
I think they're like a lot of the, I don't know, I guess doctors and people on the side that know about it were kind of scared. And Dana was saying he wanted him to go get checked out at the hospital after and made sure he was, because just how weird it was.
Yeah, it was weird. I can't recall a time that we've ever seen something like that happen in mixed martial arts. So absolutely, UFC looked on top of it, that they were doing everything they could to make sure that Burgos was in fact okay. And I haven't seen any reports since then, but
I think they said he was.
He got the all clear to go home, but they did say something about him doing continued testing. So that was the main card, and it was absolutely entertaining. Couple notes. I'm not going to go through every prelim, but there's a couple fights. Jacare.
I don't know how to get to the prelims.
If you scroll up to the top, it says main card and says prelims.
Oh, I gotta minimize our box. Hopefully we don't go away. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, okay. There you go. All right, so Ronaldo Jacare Souza versus Andre Muniz, and Jacare had a nasty arm break. Muniz got him in a triangle and transitioned into an arm bar, and that arm bar, you heard the crunch of that bone break, even with fans in the crowd. Now, I thought we heard stuff, when it's at the Apex and no fans. It was absolutely audible in this fight, and I feel bad. Souza is 41 years old. It feels like he's been around forever too. That was just a sad ending for him. And then the next fight also had some storyline to it. Lando Venata versus Mike Grundy. Lando Venata won that one by split decision. I actually went back and watched this fight a second time because I didn't understand at the time that the announcement was read. Grundy, one judge had Grundy 30-27. And I wanted to go back and watch it to see if there was any way that he could have won, all 3 rounds. I gave him maybe 1 round out of that. It was just Grundy, absolutely, he landed takedowns, but Lando Venata was able to escape or stuff the takedowns more times than I think Grundy had taken him down 9 tried to take down 10 times, but only had like less than a minute of control time. I mean, it was just not enough to validate giving him the round is what I saw. But this is also, UFC was in Texas, and there's been an issue in the past with some of the judgments that have come out of Texas. And so I just did not see that one going 30-27. Lando Venata he wasn't landing the harder shots, but for every one of Grundy's shots, Lando Venata was given 2, 3 at a time. He peppered the hell out of that guy. So a huge victory for Lando Venata to get things back on track for him. Jordan Wright versus Jamie Pickett. That was a barn burner knockout. Andrea KGB Lee, Texas's own, from Atlanta, Texas. She submitted Valentina Shevchenko's sister Antonina. So, I mean, I enjoyed the prelims. I enjoyed the main card. It was all around everything that we expected that it was going to be, even with one fight move into this weekend.
Yeah. So, I was wondering if that girl was Valentina Shevchenko's sister.
Yes. I'm not sure if they're full sisters because they look absolutely nothing alike.
Yeah.
But I follow Valentina on Instagram. They're always posting their pictures together and the little dance kicks and dances that Valentina does. She's always there. So she's got a lot of skills. Andrea Lee she's a savage, and
that was cool. That was a good fight.
It was a good fight, and I arguably Antonina was winning the stand-up war, and maybe she just got caught in a precarious position and got submitted, and stuff like that happens. But Lee is no slouch. Lee is one of those up and coming fighters in that division that we might
what
be
weight class was that?
This is at flyweight, women's flyweight.
Okay.
So it is Shevchenko's division. Her and her sister are both in the same division. Mm-hmm. So the 125 women's division. So cool. But yeah, all in all, it's good. And then this weekend, we got some fun coming our way. We got the return of Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font. We haven't seen Cody Garbrandt since his spectacular knockout of Rafael Assunção. I believe that was June of last year. It was one of the knockouts of the year, last second in the second round. He just loads up like he was putting his special move in Street Fighter 2, and
yeah, that was a good knockout too.
Sent Assunção to another dimension. He faces Rob Font, and this is a tough fight for him too. Rob Font's a killer.
Are neither of them ranked now? I guess.
Yeah,
Cody's not ranked anymore.
Cody should be ranked. I think Cody was ranked.
Say that.
It might say it on there on the page.
If I click off, oh yeah, it does. It says number 4 and number 3.
Number 4 versus number 3. So
yeah,
I mean, this is probably the number 1 contender.
Yeah.
Main event, fight night card. Absolutely. I'll call it right now. I'll say
this is Aljo's weight class, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is bantamweight.
But we probably won't see him defend it until he fights what's his name.
No, but there's also been talks about Cody Garbrandt dropping and going and chasing the Davison Figueiredo. He fights in a few weeks on the pay-per-view card. The rematch with him and Alex Morono. No, Brandon Morono. The rematch for the flyweight title. So yeah, I mean, Cody after this fight could drop down and take a title fight, or he could wait out and see when
he's gonna look dead like what's his name Dillashaw did if he drops down.
And Cody's a lot smaller of a frame,
shorter too.
Yeah, a lot smaller frame than Dillashaw. So I believe I would believe better, he'd have a better chance of making it than Dillashaw would. But that would be an interesting fight to see him and Aljo. That's a great fight. So many things to come out of this number 1 contender fight. And let's not sleep on Rob Font. I mean, he's been around for a couple years, and
I don't know anything about him.
No, Rob Font's a killer. So, he absolutely deserves to be in this position too. And then you look at the co-main event, you've got Yan Xiaonan versus Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza, of course, was the first ever women's strawweight champion coming out of the Ultimate Fighter. She defeated Rose Namajunas in the Ultimate Fighter finale to be the first one until she ran into Joanna, and Joanna pieced her up pretty good. But she's been quietly climbing her way back into the title picture. And this fight right here also has title implications too, contendership implications.
Is this the one Rose was talking about? She was seeing what would happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it this one?
Absolutely. And even Weili Zhang, the former champion before she got defeated, this was the fight that she was keeping an eye on as well, because her fellow countryman, Yan Xiaonan, if she wins, set up that China versus China fighter.
That's 4 versus 3 too. Carlos Esparza is number 4 and Yan is number 3. So there's 2 4-3s in there. I know rankings don't matter, but
it's a big time fight for sure. especially for a fight night card. Then you got fan favorite Justin Taffa versus Jared Vanderraa. Felicia Spencer versus Norma Dumont Viana. That one's an interesting one because it's the women's featherweight division that's kind of hanging on a women of prayer right now. To see what happens there, if they can infuse some more talent into that division. Felicia fought for the title and lost. And then you see David Dvorak versus.
Don't even try.
Yeah, I'm not.
Raluyan? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't. And then the fight that, of course, the main card, the first fight on the main card is Jack Hermanson versus Edmund Shabazian. That was the fight that was moved from the pay-per-view to this weekend. I'm assuming because COVID concerns. But Edmund Shabazian, you know him. He's managed by Ronda Rousey.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, that's her understudy, if you want to call him that. And then Jack the Joker Hermanson, he's a tough guy. He's been around, fought some tough fights. So this next fight, I'm excited for. It gives us something to look forward to until we get UFC 263 and a much anticipated return of Nathaniel Diaz versus Leon Rocky Edwards. I mean,
yeah, I want to see that one. That was supposed to be last weekend, right?
It was supposed to be
this one.
Yeah, it was supposed to be UFC 262, but that one, it got moved several weeks ago. It was Nate Diaz.
Yeah, because what's his name got injured?
Nate Diaz got injured, and it was a minor injury. But Dana White absolutely wants Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is not going to fight on a fight night. He's a draw. So putting him on a pay-per-view is what makes sense. So I don't think it was anything major to keep him out for an extended amount of time, obviously, because he's on the very next pay-per-view. So, but yeah, it works out. And tough draw for Leon Edwards, who, his fights,
he always has bad luck too.
His fights are always falling out, whether it be
him or
something with them, because he was supposed to face Hamzat Chimaev, and
I can't wait till he gets back.
Me too.
I don't know if you saw, but Darren Till and him were on Instagram Live together, and Darren Till was saying he'd fight him.
Yeah,
I don't know if they will, but that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I absolutely. Doesn't matter. 170, 185. I'll see him. He absolutely looks like he could be that fighter that could hold two championships and defend at the same time and be the first, male fighter to accomplish that in the way that Amanda Nunes has successfully defended both of her titles.
Right.
We haven't had a champ that has defended both titles like that. You remember Connor, they stripped him of the featherweight when he got the lightweight. Daniel Cormier, when he had lightweight, he relinquished lightweight to get the heavyweight championship. So, but
they wouldn't have done that. Well, for Connor maybe, but for DC, he said he wasn't going to ever defend it. He said he's not going back.
Yeah, and Connor, I think,
was
pretty much said the same.
New
What's that?
Was it just so new for that, or did he say he's not ever going back down to 145?
No, Connor said that he felt like he had cleaned out the division. I was probably one of the only ones that said that he really didn't clean out anything. I mean, yeah, he fought Aldo and knocked out Aldo, but his other fights to get there, I thought there was a lot of tough competition for him still at 145. So the move up to 155 to get the double champ was a monetary and a status move for sure.
Yeah.
But he said that he felt like he'd cleaned out the division, so he wasn't going back to 45. So that was on him. So we really haven't had a champ and in the UFC that's defended both belts. Henry Cejudo, same thing.
That's what I was about to say. He did one, right? But he didn't drop back and do that one.
Yeah, he didn't drop back and do the other one.
Did he even defend either?
I don't think when he got the bantamweight title and got
he moved up.
He moved up to get the bantamweight title and then dropped the and I think that's when he actually retired. He became Triple C and triple champ because he has the gold medal in wrestling and so but anyways, I mean Khamzat, he looked so smooth on 11 days notice. He fought at middleweight and then fought at welterweight, or fought at welterweight and then fought at middleweight during the pandemic. So he was able to pull that up. That guy's just, he's something different. So, and he's willing to smash everybody. And I believe him. I believe him. So, but yeah, I mean, this weekend, back on ESPN Plus, back at the UFC Apex, it looks exciting. UFC 263, just a couple weeks away. We're talking June 12th, I believe it is. And I don't know. You got anything else for me, Jeff?
I'm just hoping we made it through this one and we're not still talking and we're lagged.
Right.
We'll find out.
Like last time, we had about 15 minutes chopped off the episode, so I had to do the 8.5 episode and kind of fill in what everybody missed. So.
It seems like we're doing okay. We're 41 in and haven't had any hiccups, hopefully, but we'll see when I hit stop.
Well, I appreciate you taking the helm
yes, sir.
Being the producer and clicking. Made my life so much easier.
Yes.
So. All right. We'll have to do this again. I don't know if you want to, you're welcome back anytime. You want to do another pay-per-view?
Yeah, I'll do the next pay-per-view.
Let's do the next pay-per-view.
So you can find another guest.
All right.
Who knows?
Sounds good.
At least an ounce of MMA or whatever.
Shoot, yeah. You've got some of them MMA places up there in Fort Worth, that would be pretty fun to peek your head in and see if we could get like Kevin Holland to come on the show. That would be awesome.
Yeah, right.
That would be a showstopper right there. But
that would be really cool. But
I think our 30 viewers would love it. And anybody who's a fan of Kevin Holland would probably hate it because we're nobodies.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You did make my life so much easier this time around. And
yes.